TPO pointing
His opening range trade in
41.5.
30.41.5. Thank you. Write that down. His opening range trade in gold hasn't been particularly kind to us the last couple weeks. So maybe we'll get a reversal in fortune on this today. Crude oil, on the other hand, has helped us keep our heads above water on these opening range trades. We also take the crude oil trade at 8 a.m. Central Time. Crude oil has been sort of offsetting our gold losses the last couple of weeks.
Coach Hoops says 1,056.69 already. Right, ES kicking it right away. Thanks, Hoop. Good morning, Hoop. Morning, Dolby time.
1,000 on the bid. 69 on 1,200.
All right. We will get right into that. Eddie, how's the economic calendar looking today? What should we be expecting? It is Fed Day. Happy Fed Day, everyone. What else we got going on today?
You just answered your question.
Already.
There you go. JD, you just answered your question. Crude traders, 9:30 today Central. That's going to be our crude oil inventory. And like I said, that's going to be it here. We've got anything on the wire I will be watching. I know we had some news yesterday regarding Putin and Trump and so forth, Ukraine. But eyes on the prize, and I'm going to pass it back to you guys.
Thank you, Eddie. No change expected in rates today. It's been priced into the Fed Fund futures. You take a look at the CME Fed Watch tool. There's basically a 0% chance of any change in rates today. So traders will be looking towards or sifting through the rhetoric in the actual announcement release and the Fed Chair press conference. It starts at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll be piping that through right here live on TopStep TV. So wall-to-wall coverage of the Fed meeting announcement today. What's up, Hogue?
Another rate announcement last night. The Bank of Japan kept their rates steady at 0.5%. I know a lot of traders were kind of focusing on that a little bit, so no change there.
Trader X in the chat. Sorry we had to block that one, but you're a funny guy.
I think he's talking to me.
Love a good jab first thing in the morning.
Shame on you. Nasty little critter.
So no reports coming out at 7:30 Central Time. We'll hold this gold trade for better or for worse. Not giving us much, though.
For sickness and in health.
For sickness and in health. For richer or poorer.
I do.
Again, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Crude oil open. We'll be looking at the opening range trade in crude also. Coming up soon. Coach Vince, what are you seeing in the markets this morning? What is your early morning analysis saying to us?
No, JD, it's rollover. It's kind of tough right now. We're inside a range of value in pretty much all the markets.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here, looking at the ES right now. Yeah, so we're in range and value. We're above settlement right now in the ES, but we are in kind of an excess tail area. We'll have to see. We're just above value from yesterday, so probably going to remain patient here. There's not.
Yeah, what were we talking about in the green room, Vince? Hurry up and wait today.
Yeah, exactly, Hogue. Hurry up and wait. But these FOMC days are kind of they're funny sometimes, right? Some days we're just range bound going into FOMC, and then some days we get that breakout rally just before it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. We've been kind of range bound since yesterday afternoon. We're just sitting up here. We're in this excess tail on the 30-minute chart. So I do like probably shorts if we stay underneath this area, but we'll have to see. Right now here's settlement. We have value high, point of control, value low. I think we're getting a little bit of selling coming in here now, but we'll have to see what happens here.
Vince, you say they're kind of funny. Funny how? Like
they're a clown?
Like a clown? Like they're here to amuse you?
I think they just act like funny, right? It just it's funny business, we call it, right? Like last time I was on the funny business area. No, so
Yes.
I think sometimes traders start thinking a certain way, right? Like, oh, this happens all the time, and then before you know it, boom, the total opposite happens. So
You think it's funny?
yes, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie.
So we're gonna have to see, but it looks like we're trying to return to settlement right now before we open here. So we'll have to see if we just chop around settlement for a while. It looks like we're trying to get there right now. So
Perfect.
we shall see.
We got
Rollover will be over soon. I promise.
It will all be over soon. We only have to do this 4 times a year, thankfully. There were
Yeah, I
guys
hope
that would come
rollover's
in
over
only
soon.
to trade. There used to be guys that would come in only to trade the roll. They would work for 2 weeks and then disappear for 3
Spreaders.
months. Yep.
Walk
They work
off the
for-
floor
Make
with
the easy money.
The brokers loved rollover. I know we used to love rollover.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Well, those that
guys
are
were
filling
fine.
each gotta, they gotta paid for the buy and the sell because, doing
Double
a
dip.
spread, you got to do each side, so you get twice as much.
Yeah.
That would
Oh,
be
I got a
more,
question for
wouldn't
you
it?
though. Oh, I have a question.
Hmm?
What do you make of the 155,000 positive open interest in the ES?
Good question. It's rollover, man.
It's rollover.
We're gonna see. Let's take a look. Just looking at the. So right now there's 2,400,000 left in open interest in the March contract. We're almost 4 million contracts in the June contract. So we're going to see probably around 500,000 expire and settle in cash on Friday and Monday. And that's going to be the March contract. So this is all a function of rollover. I think there's a whole boatload of legging going on right now. And when those legs are unwound, you're going to lose all that open interest. So I can go back and look, but I think in the last rollover we dropped about 500,000 contracts in open interest on expiration, which means all of those positions we're going to settle in cash. So it's just a function of rollover. We see it a lot. I can take a look back at the previous roll here. March. Nope, I can't. I can't go look back. It started at the beginning of the year. We were March at the beginning of the year. So yeah, well, I could look back at other sheets. I don't want to go back and do that right now, but maybe we'll look at that in a little while, and I can tell you how much we lost in the roll from the D's to the March. Let me see if I can find it. Talk amongst yourselves.
Looking at volume and open interest. Yeah, Coach Vince is correct. So March contract lost 240,000 in open interest yesterday.
Yes.
June contract gained 395, leaving a balance of 150,000 possible new open positions in the June contract.
Yep.
1.9 million contracts traded yesterday. Bulk of the volume is now in the June contract. If you are not trading on the TopStepX platform, you might want to consider rolling to the June contract today. Go where the volume is.
June is M.
TopStep. June
M
is
as
the
in
letter
June.
M. If you are on TopStepX, the platform has rolled automatically for you. You don't have to do a thing. We try and make it as easy as possible for you.
I should never do that. I deleted that information. I apologize that I'm not able to tell you, but I remember it was probably around somewhere between 500,000 and 600,000 contracts expired and settled in cash in the roll from D's to March.
JD, how we doing it with that gold trade? It looks like we're hanging around value high from yesterday right now.
Yep, we got a couple tickies in it. Nothing much yet. Hovering just below our entry price. House count short, 1 gold contract, 30.45.50. We are currently up 4 ticks. We could liquidate this position for $30 right now if we wanted to.
3
Hey, buy
tickies.
breakfast at McDonald's.
The way I eat,
Yeah,
$30 would not buy a meal at McDonald's.
no, especially not at Lou Mitchell's.
Egg prices, right?
Last
Like
night I got a
$1 an egg.
pizza. I got some wings for me and the wife. Gave the delivery guy a $10 tip. $81, $91 with the $10 tip.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like
I
Jesus.
believe it.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
The price of cheese these days.
Please with the cheese.
Should we start thinking about a time stop on this trade, guys?
You know, it is contrary to the bigger picture. We did put a new all-time high in the overnight session last night. We know that those are usually not typically going to be lasting highs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we had
again,
high
gold.
And a new low. Overnight high and low are took out yesterday. So
yeah.
And again, gold has not been very kind to us the last couple of days.
At least the opening range trade, right?
At least the opening range trade is not.
I don't have any delta.
Yesterday, we didn't take the opening range
flopping
trade.
Around. We're probably not going to be expecting much from this, before the FOMC meeting. Yeah. Whatever we think, whatever we do.
It's making a run for us, though. All right, Eddie, you got a couple news stories for us before we get into the charts? What happened overnight?
A couple. Well, here we go. Fed Reserve today, folks. If you're just waking up and falling out of bed and logging on, Fed Head Day today, concluding its latest policy meeting later this session. That's going to be a 1 o'clocker. And of course, question and answers afterwards. U.S. Central Bank widely expected to hold interest rates unchanged in this 2-day gathering. Yes, they gathered yesterday, and today is day number 2. And we will be seeing our good friend, the Fed Chairman, Uncle Jerry Powell, as well as the updated summary of the economic projections. Now, we did see stock futures higher today, trading ahead of this Fed Head Day. S&P up 10, NASDAQ up 45, and Dow up 55. And the Wall Street indices struggled yesterday, ending a 2-day winning session. That thing we call the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 0.6%. S&P well over 1%, and NASDAQ also declining 1.7%. U.S. equities struggled late amid the concerns of President Trump's tariff policies will hit the economic activity. Additionally, U.S. Treasury Secretary DeSantis said over the weekend there were no guarantees that the U.S. economy will avoid recession this year. And as Johnny mentioned, Mr. Hogue, Bank of Japan earlier today started the ball rolling during this week's busy central banks as expected. Japanese central bank decided to keep its short-term policy rate unchanged at 0.5% by a unanimous vote. Policymakers decided to spend more time gauging the impact of potential higher U.S. tariffs on Japan's fragile economy, which is a very export dependent. And that's what I've got here so far. I'm going to pass it back to JD.
Thank you, Eddie. And yeah, we just got ticked out on that gold trade. Gold, you are dead to me. I'm done trading you forever.
Wow. We can't
go find a new best friend, gold market. House count down 25 ticks. Overnight, markets in Asia closed a little bit mixed. Shanghai Composite down 0.1%, Nikkei down 0.25%, and the Hang Seng up 0.12%. Markets in Europe currently trading a little bit mixed also. FTSE down 0.23%, DAX down 0.64%, and the CAC up 0.16%. U.S. dollar index currently 103.52. VIX hovering just above 21.68, down a couple of ticks overnight. Yield on the 10-year U.S. Treasury note 4.281%, unchanged at the moment. We got 22 minutes until the crude oil open. Crude oil open 8 o'clock a.m. Central Time. We'll be taking the opening range trade in that. Until that time, though, Coach Vince, Mr. Hoagland, what are the charts telling us this morning? What's happening?
Well, all right. Let's take a look at the weekly in the S&Ps. We broke out from the range 2 weeks ago. We've kind of created a new range so far. Trend lines on here. Some might call this a megaphone, but we are right back in the middle of it, right in the teeth of rollover. The market is very centrally located between last week's low, 55.60.75, and last week's high, 58.09 quarter, and centrally located inside of the weekly kickoff high and low. It's all about the FOMC today, isn't it? Take a look at the 30-minute chart as my good friend Vinny was saying. Well, we don't really have any overnight inventory. We're kind of hanging right in range, right near the high of value from yesterday. Yesterday was a B-shaped profile, which would indicate long liquidation, which is not supported by a 155,000 estimated additional contracts. But again, it's rollover, and that is more of a function of rollover than anything directional that we could see at this time. So I know Vince is probably going to be saying a lot the same. It's hurry up and wait today. We're in range, we're in value, big possible release coming out, although it may just end up being, as Dee would call it, a storm in a teacup, because where everybody is expecting the fact that, we already know that they're not going to do anything. So it's going to be more about the press conference at 1:30 after that. So my suggestion, just stay chill, look for, let the market settle this morning, look for an open initial balance, and focus on those extremes for opportunities prior to the FOMC meeting today. I don't know. My guy, Vinny, what do you think?
Yeah, if you go over to my charts, we'll take a look. So, like you said, we're in range and value. We're above value from yesterday. We have settlement here at 56.69 quarter. Excuse me. But this is kind of interesting here. So I kind of like shorts right up here. And let me show you something. Yesterday, this was at, what time is this here? 2:30, 1:30. Hold on one second. So check this out. So we get this high we put in, right, yesterday. And then we have this. This is in the overnight session. And if you project this out, Hogue, look what we just did. We came up across, and we rolled over. So I'm kind of liking shorts right now, above value from yesterday. We have settlement. I would like to see the market rotate here to settlement. Below value, maybe something might happen here. But as long as we stay below this 56.89 level, right now, I'm thinking short side for right now, temporarily. We'll have to see how we open, but we do have that in our favor at the moment. But we are building into this pennant
formation. I got a little confluence
here
on that level as well for you. The spike base from the 24th, that's that late spike to the upside. 56.90 half. That lines up pretty nicely with your trend line, doesn't it?
Oh, look at that. All right. But we are, in this pennant formation, right? So this is a consolidation pattern. So something is going to happen. It's just, which way do we go, George? Right? Which way do we go?
Which way do we go?
If we break this structure here, I'm probably going to be looking for a short side. But we have to see. But if we break this line up here and we hold, I'm probably going to get long sometime today. All right, but that's where I'm at right now.
We're in this. Happens?
We might just chop in here for the next 5-6 hours. Yeah, we may just go nowhere. We may just be stuck, just trading in here like this. We might just bounce around and chop everybody to pieces.
Could just kind of leak out of that pennant formation through attrition before 1:30 today.
Yeah, we're gonna be forced to go somewhere, right? But we don't know when. Right? We got to see. Right now, we're still early. We could just chop in here for a while. But if we start to find direction, these are probably going to be the areas I'm looking at. Short side this way, long side that way. So we'll see.
So range bound rules until proven otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, let's take a look at the NASDAQ now. On the monthly chart, again, setting up for an inside week. Again, it happened the same week here in the NASDAQ as it happened in the S&Ps. We don't see a lot of inside weeks really ever on the weekly chart. Very rarely does that happen. So, but it does make sense because, well, rollover. I can't wait to not say that word for a couple of 3 months. Of course, you always have to when you're looking at crude oil because it happens every month. All right. Daily, again, kind of an expanding range that's been established. And again, with FOMC, we're centrally located between last week's high and last week's low. Last week's low, 19,345 and a quarter. Last week's high, 20,362 and a half. Weekly kickoff high, we've got 20,375. Weekly kickoff low, 19,525. Relatively centrally located, looking for something to happen. It's like our little tennis player is waiting center court so that they can get to the lob if it's to the right, get to the lob if it's to the short side, to the backside hand. Just waiting for something to happen. The markets are waiting for new information. We've been saying that for a couple of weeks. Take a look at the 30-minute chart, and here we are. So you can see, kind of an expanding range. Here, we're going to move this. We're going to move this to here. Expanding range. And flat at the bottom here. So a little bit of an expanding range, but range bound overall. I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days where we really haven't gone anywhere. And it's typical of rollover for that to happen. It's overnight inventory. What do we have any overnight inventory? Let's see where we opened last night. 1,700. There it is. Here's us. Maybe a little bit of overnight inventory to the long side, but nothing severe. Not going to be opening with a gap or anything. So probably not going to be using that as anything that I'm going to be thinking as important for anything early this morning. So where are we going to be thinking is important this morning? Well, let's see. We're opening in range, above value. No overnight inventory to really speak of. Big numbers coming out. The only thing I can say, and I know, Vince, you're feeling a lot the same way. I think a lot of people are feeling the same way. It's kind of a hurry up and wait kind of day. Be patient. Yep. Let the initial balance establish itself. Order fill. The initial balance for opportunities early in the session, and then wait and see what happens with the FOMC meeting later. We did have a B-shaped profile again, and again, that is a sign of long liquidation. Adding 9,000 in open interest, however, in the NASDAQ does not support that theory. And again, it's rollover. So very, very difficult to read open interest and volume during rollover. Everything is split. The longer time frames focus is not in anything directional. It's all about the rollover. So I don't know. What do you think, Vince?
All right. So got a few things going on here in the NASDAQ. I feel very similar, Hogue. We're in range, we're in value, we're inside. It's not anything that gets you all excited going into the open, right? If we have a nice gap imbalance or something like that, I'd be a lot more excited for the open, but we're kind of here. This is where we're at. But a couple of things that I'm looking at here, Hogue. I have this downward trend line here, all right, which is a longer time frame. And then we kind of pushed off this support zone, and I was calling this the resistance area, right? We have these lows here. We had these sellers came in, sellers, right, sellers. But on a very short time frame, we have this trend up, right, off of this support zone. So we're trending up. We broke this downside structure, okay, and then we came up right here against these highs. And we have this kind of rollover, kind of like a crowning pattern. And so we get up in here, test the backside, the south side of the trend line, and we reverse down. Well, we're in the center of the range here. So we have settlement at 97.0175. But if we project
Order filled.
this line out, right, we're at it right now. So I think we're at an area here where something could potentially happen similar to the ES. So very, very similar charting patterns here going on. So we kind of have a pennant formation here on, this is on the 30-minute chart, by the way. We're above value from yesterday. Okay, we're up against this slope, right? So if we break this, maybe we're going to come up here and test this 20,000 level. If we do not, we're going to come back, maybe check settlement, and maybe we could break to the downside and test this point of control in 19,566, and then maybe get down into the support zone as targets, to the downside. So we're going to have to see how things go. But here's value high, here's value low, and here's our point of control from the previous day. So this one is naked. All right, this one is naked. So I'm very interested to see what happens here. Do we break structure and get acceptance, and then maybe eat these single prints all the way up, or whatever's there, eat this tail? We'll see. Right. So if we eat the tail, maybe we could test up here to 20,000 today. If not, I'm looking downside here at this 565, and then get back down here to this somewhere in the support zone, 19,440-ish area. So that's what I'm looking at in the NQ today.
All right. Thank you, Vince.
Yep.
Always giving a good look these markets, Vince. All right. No wonder you're a made man. All right. This is crude oil, still range bound in 2 weeks of range in the shorter time frame, still narrowing balance, not a whole lot happening in the longer time frames here. If the people in Landman could see this chart, they would be very happy, because they want crude between $65 and $75, and that's pretty much where it's been for a little over a year now. So take a look at the daily chart. Oh, hey, wait a minute, that's not what I want. This is what I want, the daily. So here it is, 2 week range, rollover, yes. Took a look above the high yesterday. This was a really tasty opening range trade that we planned out early with Jay, and we got out at settlement. There was a lot more to that trade, but that was the plan, so we followed the plan. Area balance high, area balance low. We're right in the middle of it. Balance rules. Fade the extremes unless there's a breakout, then you go with it. Fade the extreme on the downside unless there's a sustained breakout, and then you go with that. We're right in the middle of it. Very, very difficult, I think, market to trade crude oil these days unless you have something kind of automated like that opening range trade yesterday. It has been a pretty successful opening range trade. There have been a lot of opening ranges that have remained the dead ass high, the dead ass low, even while in this range. We'll see about that today. Take a look at the 30-minute chart and see if there's anything else I had to say here. Now, let's take a look here. Overnight inventory got a little bit short. That has now been reconciled back to settlement. My question is, are we going to open with a gap or not? Yesterday was a trend day to the downside. A little bit of a double distribution trend day, but it did pretty much time frame lower all day long. So that's the sign of a trend day. There's the opening range. Here's where we were short. Here's where we got out. That was the plan, to get out at settlement, and there was a lot more to it. And where did it trade to, Vince? A naked point of control down below. That naked point of control from over here on the 14th of March came in at 66.67. That's what was targeted. It's amazing, Vince. When people are looking at a level, they have a tendency to make price go to that level. So anyway, overnight inventory, no. In range, in value, maybe. Are we going to open with a gap? Are we going to reaccept? Are we going to accept value from yesterday, head back higher? Are we going to reject value from yesterday, head lower? I do like the idea of the opening range trade, JD, this morning in crude, because it's kind of bordering on balance from yesterday. We know in the multiple time frames it's in balance. We're looking more at the idea that it may be in short time frame be a little bit out of balance, which could give us a better opportunity or a higher probability for the opening range trade. Vince, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so similar things here in gold. Like you said, we're range bound, right? From if we zoom out here, we're range bound to $68 range to 65, right? We're in a $3 range. What was interesting yesterday, though, the first thing I want to cover, just something that happened yesterday. You had the open range short, right, all day. So yesterday we had this was, let me zoom in. So we had this range, right? This was the previous day. And overnight inventory was long up against this resistance zone at the 68.50 level. So overnight inventory was very long.
Order
and then
filled.
We opened right here at 9 o'clock. Okay, we reconcile all the overnight inventory. We get to the point of control from the previous day. We took out this upward sloping trend line, and then we just pushed down, right? And tested this point of control here. We got the value low. So everything happened pretty much from this long inventory, okay, the imbalance up here. But going into today, we already tested settlement of 66.75. We were below the range and value from yesterday. So overnight inventory was short, like Hogue was saying, and we reconciled that back up here to settlement already. If we maintain below and we reject yesterday's value, I do like short side, maybe an open range trade, like you said. If we get short, we want to stay below this. We want to reject value from yesterday. We don't want to get acceptance in here. But we do have this naked point of control up here. So for crude oil, if we end up with longs today, I'm looking at this point of control, 66.93, and then a test all the way up here to the backside of this trend line up against this resistance area, okay? To the downside. So if we catch maybe a trade and we're short and we're rotating down, I like to test down here, right? To this potential trend line down here. So, we're in the middle of range. We're like a tennis player that's just bouncing the ball back and forth, and we're going to get whacked one way or another here, right? So we're going to have to see how we open. We got to see how we open, but we did test settlement already. So all this short inventory from the overnight has reconciled. So we're going to see. But I think I do like the idea of an open range trade here.
All right. Well, this is a family-friendly show, Vince. No whackings.
Whack Maury.
All right. Well, we got a couple minutes. Let's kind of take a quick look through gold here. All right. So the weekly chart. Well, since back in January, it's been one time framing higher. We did see one decent pullback, and now we're back to one time framing higher. Take a look at the daily chart. Here we go. We got an all-time high that is no longer there. We put another new all-time high in the overnight last night. See if we can't get that taken out. We've had a couple of overnight highs not be very lasting overnight highs, and that is typical of overnight all-time highs. They tend not to be lasting. So the daily chart back to one-time framing higher. We added 3,000 in open interest on a push to the upside on pretty decent volume. I'm giving the move yesterday kind of a B minor. I would like to see a little bit more momentum or tempo to the upside, maybe a little bit of maybe starting to get a little bit long here in the tooth. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Speaking of long in the tooth, that's me. All right, so we had a big gap up yesterday. We were looking at the opening range trade to see a better overnight inventory adjustment. That this just did not happen. When that does not happen, what doesn't happen is sometimes more important as to what does. It tells us that this market is stronger than we think it is. We did put another new all-time high in the overnight session last night. Overnight inventory. What do we have as far as overnight inventory is concerned? Here we go. And here we go. Very little overnight inventory if you want to talk about anything. This trend line is way old. We're not going to look at this on the 30-minute chart here. We're
Order
just gonna let
filled.
that go by here. Seems to be kind of central in price anyways. So again, we did not open with a gap. We attempted to take out the overnight all-time high. That was not successful. here just yet. Looking for opportunities to put in some sort of base to look for a move back to take out that overnight all-time high. All right. What else? The normal variation neutral day yesterday traded both sides of the initial balance. Settlement was relatively centrally located. Point of control was relatively centrally located. The market's job is to facilitate trade. It did a good job of facilitating a lot of trade yesterday. If that facilitation has been used up, it will look for new levels for facilitation. Vince, quick thoughts on gold this morning?
Yeah. So, first of all, love gold. Always love gold. I have this thing with gold. This market has been unbelievable. And like you said, I think we're kind of a little bit overbought, but who knows? This thing could just keep on going. It's a gift that's just been keeps on giving lately. So how I'm looking at gold here is we did have a little bit of a short time range that I was watching, like this high and this low. And we stayed range bound for a couple of days here with value. We broke out of it here. We rallied up, we came back, we tested it, came back to see if it's going to be a viable support zone. Resistance broken, test here, and it goes. And we've just been bull flag after bull flag, right? It's just been going and going and going and going. Now, in my opinion right now, I took this here and I'm putting this out here. We have kind of this reversal pattern.
Vince, we're probably taking a look at the opening range trade in crude oil right now. If we want to take a look at that, we come back to your thought there, Vince.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't lose it.
Yep.
Don't lose it.
You certainly are. We're looking at that opening range trade in crude oil right now. Opening range trade has been established. We're working our stop entries on both sides of the opening range. We got to stop to enter right here at 66.66, waiting for that
order filled.
Stop to enter on the upside at 66.78. House count is in. We are short one crude oil, 66. 666.
It scares me.
Oh, geez, 6666. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then we had that. What was that? The eclipse the other day happened. It was blood red at 3:00 in the morning, right?
All right, don't scare us all now.
Dogs and cats living together.
Oh man,
Conspiracy Vince.
We got a CYA up at 66.82, new highs.
66.82.
Right smack dab in the middle of the opening range right now. House count short one crude oil, 66.66.
Okay, there we go.
All right, Vince, if you want to kind of finish up your thought in gold, and then
Sure.
Going on here.
Just go back to the charts there, and we'll be good. There we go.
There you go.
All right, so we had the breakout, right? We had bull flag after bull flag, but we kind of have this. I'm calling it maybe, we're a little bit overbought. We did put an overnight high, overnight low. It took out yesterday's high and lows, so that's usually we don't like to leave those in regular trading hours, right, Hogue? So we'll see what happens here. However, I have this trend line here, and we kind of have this reversal type pattern that's starting, right? And we're doing this, and we're doing a little of that, a little of this. And we come down, and then we check here, and do we roll over at this point? Okay, do we test settlement, point of control, and do we get down here to this upward sloping longer time frame trend line here at 3017.50? Also into this area that was previous resistance, which is now confirmed support by this candle here. So if we cannot put in a new high, get back above this 30.50 level, I do like the shorts here, Hogue. I like shorts, point of control, this settlement, and then the test all the way down here to this 3016.17 area. But if we test upside, who knows where we're going, right? We're in uncharted territory at this point. We're in open air. Anything can happen.
We're on a
Delta has
we're on a
been
3-hour tour
short.
on the SS Minnow.
Delta has been
filled.
super short, right? For what, a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of short time frame shorts in this market. Maybe I don't know how it unraveled yesterday, but we had what, a $20 gap yesterday morning. How big was that gap yesterday?
Pretty,
About 20, 30
it's
bucks.
pretty
Right?
big here. Hang on a second. I can tell you. 33.08 to 31. So
$90. No.
yeah.
30 08 to
$20 dollars.
$20 yeah, huge.
330.
Yeah, I remember when I first started trading gold, it was $280 an ounce.
Yeah,
you know,
$280 an ounce.
Wow, $280 an ounce. Now we're getting $100 swings in a day. It's amazing.
Yeah, let's buy some down there at $280 an ounce.
Yeah, I wish I just rolled over for the last 20 years. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking at here in gold. You know, we're up against this. You know, we're up against this symmetrical crown formation here. High is 30.52. High is 30.52. This isn't a lot of risk. This isn't a lot of risk if you take the short. Take a short up here around this. Take a short up here around. You know, it's not a lot of risk to the high. You know, but if we gain acceptance above this area and we take out the high, the overnight, we're probably going to push further, unless just try to put myself in the gold producer seat. If I had a ton of gold to sell to people and we put a new all-time high in here, I might start unloading some of that onto the market. So I don't like to pick tops, but this is an actual formation that at least I have a little bit of something to lean on, right? We don't know what's going to happen in these markets. ACH,
limit risk.
Anything can happen, but I could minimize my risk and then the potential for a pretty nice trade if I can get what I'm looking for.
Well, Vince, I